for his briefing. I now give the floor to Mr. Maurizio Martina.
Madam President, the people of Gaza are experiencing the catastrophic levels of conflict-induced food insecurity and the high risk of conflict-induced famine. That risk is increasing by the day. The main factors driving this risk are intensified hostilities, further reduction of food access, basic services and life-saving assistance, and extreme concentration or isolation of people in inadequate facilities or areas without basic services. An integrated food security phase classification analysis was released that detailed the levels of acute food insecurity in Gaza. The key findings are extremely troubling. 378,000 people were estimated to be experiencing catastrophic IPC phase 5, the most severe phase of acute food insecurity. The entire population of about 2.2 million people in Gaza Strip is estimated to be in crisis or worse, IPC phase 3 and above. The highest percentage of people experiencing such acute food insecurity that the IPC has ever classified. About 50% of the population is projected to be in emergency IPC phase 4, and at least 1 in 4 households be in catastrophic or famine-like condition, IPC phase 5. Excellencies, allow me to elaborate more specifically on the impact of the conflict on agri-food systems. Civilian infrastructures, including that essential for the production, the processing, the distribution of food, has been severely damaged, destroyed, or made inaccessible. Since 9 October, the government of Israel reinforced blockade has included stopping or restricting food, electricity and fuel supply, as well as commercial goods. The entire food supply chain has been affected in different ways. Severe restrictions on fuel shipment are crippling the functioning of water infrastructure and desalination plants, the production and delivery of the key food commodities. Electricity blackout are severely disrupting agricultural activities and water infrastructure. The only electricity available comes from solar panels and generators. Shortage of safe water persists. The water supply was at only 7% of pre-October levels, with services restricted to water trucking, one functional desalination plant, and one of the 3 main water supply lines, the later of which was only restored in 30 December. Around 97% of the groundwater is reportedly unfit for human consumption. The commercial sector has been decimated due to the near complete lack of imports of essential items, including food. The lack of import means that food stocks have been depleted. Bakeries' capacity to produce bread has been seriously hampered. Before the current conflict, Gaza's food production load service sufficient in most fruit and vegetable, for example. The conflict has severely disrupted this. In the most likely scenario, agricultural production will have collapsed in the north by May 2024. We are already seeing this collapse. Satellite data analysis from December shows a significant decline in the health and the density of crops when compared to the preceding 6 seasons. As of 15 February, 46.2% of all cropland was assessed to be damaged. Within the governorate of Gaza, specifically, 54.8% of crop lands were damaged. Likewise, agricultural infrastructure has been devastated, with the highest level of destruction to animal shelters, sheep farms, dairy farms, home farms, and broiler farms. Over 1/4 of wells have been destroyed, with destruction most significant in North Gaza and in Gaza City. 339 hectares of greenhouses had been destroyed, most severely in Gaza City, North Gaza, and Khan Yunis. Moreover, the harvest of olives and citrus fruit, which provides an important source of income, has been heavily impacted by the hostilities, and lack of access to food and damage from airstrike have taken a toll on livestock owners, with many breeders reporting substantial losses. By the end of January, all broiler poultry are assumed to have been slaughtered or died. The mortality rate of cows is assumed to be between 65% and approximately 70% of beef cattle and 50% of small ruminants are estimated to be dead. Gaza fishing sector are indirectly providing livelihood for 100,000 people has come to a standstill. In addition, having restriction of humanitarian assistance, including food and fuel required to distribute it, have rendered impossible any meaningful humanitarian operations. Current levels of assistance are completely disproportionate to the overwhelming needs. Excellencies, the cessation of hostilities and restoration of a humanitarian space to deliver assistance and restore service are essential first steps in eliminating a risk of famine. A critical priority is to restore safe humanitarian access throughout the Gaza Strip and to all those in need of life-saving assistance. Border crossing should be reopened, including the commercial traffic. Essential commodities must be allowed to move into and throughout Gaza. Immediately, multi-sectoral humanitarian assistance must be provided to the entire population, with priority given to the most vulnerable. Basic service must be restored, and this includes restoring cross-border water pipelines, resuming electricity distribution, restoring health facilities, water infrastructure, food production, financial facilities, telecommunication, among others. Excellencies, I thank the Council again for its attention to the food security situation in Gaza. The FAO Director General has joined the Secretary General in calling an immediately humanitarian ceasefire. All parties must respect their obligation under international humanitarian and human rights law and protect civilians. An immediate ceasefire and peace are a prerequisite for the food security, and the right to food is a basic human right. Thank you very much.
I thank Mr. Martina for his briefing, and I now give the floor to Mr. Karl Skau.